It was kind of thought to maybe Morgan Stanley, according to your reporting, but Uber may have screwed up Morgan Stanley's chances?
Perhaps. You know, back in May, we were all sitting in our seats wondering, with Uber and the Uber flop with Morgan Stanley handling that IPO, obviously didn't go well the first couple of days. Would there be any ramifications from that? Would it actually hurt them in a business sense? And here we are, apparently with that result, which is, you know, the Saudis being significant owners in Uber, Bloomberg reporting that they own at least 10% of Uber, and being less than pleased with the way that that investment was handled. If you had to pick between JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley at this point, and you've just been stung a little bit by Morgan Stanley's handling of this major IPO, I guess it tilted it to JP.
And the new chairman of Aramco is the head, or was the head, of the PIF, which is the Public Investment Fund.
The Sovereign Wealth Fund.
So the new head of Aramco, the guy who will ostensibly decide who the lead banker in the deal is a guy that's been personally burned by the Uber underperformance.
Yeah. So you put together the pieces of the puzzle. I would think that Morgan Stanley still is going to be an underwriter in this deal. In other words, there's
they're going to need a bunch, right, Hugh? I mean, they're going to need a ton of banks on this deal.
Right, but lead left is kind of like the quarterback, right? They're calling the shots. They're in all the meetings. They're privy to the most important discussions about IPO price, when to list, if to list, right? This is still something that's still going to be discussed. If energy prices crater, if equity markets crash between now and November when they're thinking about doing this, they'll probably hold it off.
Yeah, and I mean, when we say this deal, I mean, Hugh, this has been the 2-year IPO that never seems to materialize. Sounds like from your reporting, if JP Morgan is lined up to be the lead banker, that means they are getting closer to actually having an IPO.
I believe second time's the charm, and this is the reason why. What happens next year, right? We have an election in the U.S., so the IPO market, the IPO window, as they like to call it, may be closing. If, you know, as we edge closer to potentially the end of the business cycle, perhaps a recession next year, you really want to do this now. You want it, so that the idea is that the first part of this listing is going to be on a domestic exchange.
The Tadawul, their stock exchange.
The Tadawul sometime in November, and then they're going to look at perhaps London, perhaps New York sometime next year. And, you know, it's projected to be the biggest IPO in history.